Have you ever stared at your monthly HOA bill and wondered if you're funding a neighborhood dictatorship instead of actual maintenance? What if the woman preaching community harmony was secretly bleeding residents dry while fining them for the wrong shade of welcome mat? And how satisfying would it be when the quiet new guy everyone whispered about finally flips the script on the queen who thought she owned the water under your feet? Let me pull you into the manicured nightmare of Oak Ridge Meadows, where the lawns are perfect, the smiles are fake, and one Karen ruled with an iron clipboard. My name is Derek Langford. In war zones for the Army Corps. I just wanted peace on my 2-acre slice of suburbia. Instead, I got President Karen Voss declaring my backyard a national security threat the second I filed for a private well permit. It started on a picture-perfect Tuesday. Karen stood at my property line like she was guarding the Berlin Wall, her pastel muumuu flapping like a surrender flag in reverse. "Mister." She cooed with that fake sweet voice that could curdle milk. "We simply cannot allow you to drill a hole in this community. Our city water is pristine. Your little project would ruin property values, and who knows what geological disasters." She crushed my county permit application in her fist, then launched into my violations. Garden hose coiled wrong, flowers too wild for the approved pallet, mailbox allegedly 0.4 inches low. Fine starting at $50 a day. Classic Karen move. Hit 'em with paperwork and public shame before they can blink. I didn't yell. I just smiled that calm smile I perfected dodging actual bullets overseas. Inside. Oh, the dark chuckle was building. This woman had no idea she'd picked a fight with the guy who once drilled under enemy fire to save villages. She'd slandered me to the neighborhood chat already, calling me the unstable newcomer who didn't respect standards. Little did she know I'd been taking notes. And I was about to make her regret every pastel-colored threat. I let the silence stretch until her Botox smirk twitched. "Thank you for the preliminary review, Karen," I said evenly. "I'll await your formal written denial citing the exact covenant article that bans private wells, certified mail, per your own bylaws within 10 business days." Then I turned, walked inside, and shut the door on her, sputtering like a lawnmower out of gas. The first rule of dealing with tyrants: never give them the reaction they crave. Give them paperwork instead. That night I opened a folder on my computer labeled Project Free Water. Subfolders for every email, every fine notice, every neighbor whisper. Military precision from day one. I emailed the full HOA board memorializing our conversation, CCing myself for the timestamp. The certified letter arrived 2 days later. Pure bureaucratic comedy. No actual prohibition existed, of course. Instead, they demanded a third-party environmental study, a geological subsidence report, noise projections, and signed consents from every adjacent owner. It was the HOA equivalent of asking a fish to prove water is wet while charging him for the test. Most people would have folded. I was the third-party expert. For quotes from consultants who charged 10 grand a pop, I turned my home office into mission control. Dual monitors glowing with aquifer maps I'd helped create for the state. I wrote a 40-page environmental impact study citing USGS data that made her concerns look like conspiracy theories from a tinfoil hat Facebook group. The geological report? A 3D model showing my 6-inch bore would disturb the ground less than planting a damn oak tree. Noise study. Drilling would sound like a polite lawnmower 2 houses away. I even walked the reports over to my neighbors myself, respectfully, facts in hand. First stop. The elderly Garcias next door. Sweet couple in their late 70s who'd lived here since the subdivision was built. Over sweet tea, Mr. Karen might pop out of the hydrangeas. "That woman, Mrs. fined us $50 a day because our mulch was too earthy." She said it clashed with the community aesthetic. We had to hire a lawyer and dip into retirement savings just so our yard didn't look like a dirt patch. They showed me the folder, hundreds of threatening letters. I scanned every page. She told us standards are standards, even if it means your roses look sad. Roses, Derek. Sad roses. 2 houses down, the Wilsons. Muscular dystrophy and needs a wheelchair. They'd begged for a simple wooden ramp. Karen's denial letter, quoted verbatim in my growing file, called it an eyesore that destroys modern farmhouse curb appeal. She actually suggested they use the garage door like it was no big deal for a kid to wheel through oil stains and spiderwebs. Mrs. cracked as she showed me the photos of Leo struggling up the steps. She said ramps scream medical, not luxury living. Like my son's life is a design flaw. I felt that cold burn again. This was cruelty dressed in pastels. I typed up their stories, asked them to review for accuracy, and added them to the victim testimonies folder that was getting thicker than Karen's rulebook. While I built the evidence, Karen's social terror campaign kicked into high gear. The neighborhood Facebook group, administered with an iron fist, exploded with her pinned post, "Dear residents, a new homeowner is attempting an industrial-style well that could drain our aquifer, destabilize the ground, and turn Oak Ridge Meadows into a sinkhole nightmare. The board is protecting your property values. Please support us against this reckless threat." Lies so blatant they had their own zip code. But she'd forgotten something. Real reports. The comments came fast and brutal. Mrs. Karen, Mr. Langford shared his professional geological study. Says the opposite. Experts you're quoting. Mr. Lived here 30 years. We trust facts, not fear-mongering. Derek's been transparent. The replies piled up like unpaid fines. Karen's empire of terror was cracking in real time. I sat back, sipping my still city water, and allowed myself one quiet laugh. This was going to be delicious. The next morning my phone rang. Old colleague David Chun from the county water department. "Derek, that report you attached is the most overkill residential well proposal I've ever seen. You could get a permit for a water park with this thing." We shared a laugh, then he got serious. "County side, you're golden. HOA sign-off. Until they approve or a court orders us to bypass, my hands are tied." Karen's next move was a formal cease and desist for the soil samples I'd taken, calling them unapproved land modification. Absurd, but it went straight into my file. Time to stop playing defense. A shark who specialized in suing overbearing HOAs. He reviewed my mountain of evidence and grinned like Christmas came early. "She's so far over her skis she's in the next county. Their denial isn't based on rules, it's based on her ego. We're going to use their own bylaws to hang them." Ben's plan was surgical. Membership meeting. 10% of owners could force it. I already had the Garcias and Wilsons. Door to door with them, we didn't even mention my well at first. We talked transparency, the Garcias mulch nightmare, Leo's denied ramp. House after house, resentment boiled over. Signatures came in 2 days. 2 weeks. The night arrived. Like angry hornets, over 30 residents crammed into folding chairs. Karen sat at the head table in a severe navy pantsuit, gavel in hand, projecting queenly control. She tried to hijack the agenda. This meeting was called because of Mr. Langford's reckless well project. But Mrs. frail voice steady. "Before any new business, let's talk old business. My shutters, over a shade of beige you invented, threatened our home of 30 years. The room murmured. Mr. The bulging folder. Then Tim Wilson rose, voice raw. "What about my son's ramp? You said it didn't match the aesthetic. My boy struggles upstairs every day because a wheelchair ramp would look medical. Since when does a child's dignity come second to curb appeal?" The floodgates opened. Satellite dishes removed while Karen's was twice as big. One woman described being cited for a memorial bench in her own backyard. Too sentimental for community standards. Karen banged the gavel, face turning blotchy. "Order. These are baseless complaints." I stood last, binder in hand, and projected the slides I'd prepared. First, the financials from my public records request. The HOA pays $20,000 a year to suburban compliance consultants, A company owned solely by Karen's sister. No office. Just convenient invoices. Gasps rippled. Next slide. Satellite photos of Karen's backyard transformations, new patio, water feature, imported palms, timed perfectly with massive landscaping payouts while the common areas looked unchanged. Our dues funded her private resort while she fined the Garcias over mulch. Karen shot up, shrieking, "Witch hunt!" But her bored cronies were sliding their chairs away. I delivered the knockout. I spent my career mapping the exact aquifer under us. A single residential well has zero negative impact. Fact, not opinion. City water rates are projected to triple. Water independence isn't a threat, it's survival. Mr. For a vote of no confidence. Seconded instantly. Pitcher. The count, 28-2. Karen's face collapsed into pure rage. She swept the gavel and papers to the floor. "You'll regret this." Then she stormed out, slamming the door so hard the windows rattled. The room erupted in relieved applause. New interim board elected on the spot. Their first motion: approve my well application unanimously. Next morning I handed the sign minutes to David Chun myself. Permit issued that afternoon. Grumbled down the street like a parade float. Neighbors watched, not in fear, but with thumbs up and quiet cheers. Leo waved from his new ramp the new board had helped fund. When the drill hit water, cold, clear, abundant, I stood at my hose bib and let it flow sparkling in the sun. Pure freedom. A month later, a moving truck parked at Karen's house. She emerged smaller, stripped of power, glaring as movers hauled out her throne-like furniture. I met her eyes, gave one slow nod, no gloating, just finality, then turned back to watering my garden with my own water. The sweetest revenge wasn't words. It was watching her empire crumble while my well kept flowing. The neighborhood barbecue I hosted weeks later felt like breathing fresh air for the first time. Kids laughed on Leo's ramp. Burgers in a ridiculous parrot shirt. Forensic accountants later found Karen had skimmed over $120,000. Charges followed. Here's the truth, neighbors. HOA Karens don't guard your American dream. They strangle it for power and profit. Stay silent and they'll own your every blade of grass. Document ruthlessly, unite the victims and hit back with facts. The sweetest revenge isn't yelling, it's watching their little empire crumble, while your own well flows free. Justice, like good water, runs deep when you dig for it.